Swimming the English Channel is no easy, nor is it a simple feat. It takes years and years of commitment and dedication. We sat down with Craig Nerwich, who just completed his channel swim last week Wednesday. We chat about how he got started, from sitting on the couch to trying to run 100 meters to train for a 5K race when he was challenged by friends, and how that 100 meters progressed to a 5-kilometer race, then a 10-kilometer race, and then straight into running comrades, and from comrades to swimming Robben Island. This is an incredible conversation about commitment, about focus, about dedication, about building and rewarding self-belief. Welcome to Coffee and Conversations with Champions, the swimming edition. Record this here, and we are recording, so we can wave at the camera. Hi. I mean, our white balance is out. Like you know, there's stuff.
Probably the light shining off the
brightness
of my bald head.
That's our bald head. So yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, we're sitting down with Craig Nerwich. Craig is, I think, can we say internationally recognized, acclaimed, valued member of a very special fraternity now. Absolutely. And a swimmer. So how did you get the nickname Floater?
So I see this is going to be an interesting podcast, I think.
There we go. So yeah, dude, your first podcast. Welcome to Coffee and Conversations with Champions. Only thing you don't have is the coffee. So do you want a coffee?
I'll take a coffee if it's up for offer.
Yeah, so we'll pause here and let's go here, resume, and cheers, we're back.
Cheers, thank you.
So 2 black Americanos. Thank you, Nescafe. Not that we're sponsored yet by Nescafe. You smiling over there.
Come on, Nescafe.
Okay. Yeah, come on, Nescafe. Let's go. Well, you know, we talk about the show, Emmet Media. Our tagline is strong content. For strong content, you need strong coffee. All right.
Absolutely.
So, dude, we've known one another for a while. You're famous for 2 things.
Okay. I'm nervous.
Yeah, no. Okay, you're famous for 3 things, right? Okay, firstly, being very, very, and I'm going to use the word fat because I'm not going to use the word overweight because weight is relative, right? Like we have power lifters that would be deemed 100 kilos overweight, but that's their competition weight. Like that's what they walk around the strongest at, and they can outrun, outlift, outfit anybody.
Yes.
So you were very heavy. Right, you're a smoker.
Yes, correct.
And then you started a little bit of a jog, right? You started jogging.
Yes, it was more a shuffle.
Actually. A shuffle.
It wasn't even a jog when I started. It was a shuffle.
Shuffle. Okay.
Yeah.
So now with that, and ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to stress this quite importantly. This is why I don't advise people to start running. Okay, because you start shuffling, running, and then, you know, next thing you're swimming the English Channel. And, you know, like I know people, like guys do crazy stuff. So tell us about that journey. Like you're at a point in your life. So I mean, your journey is amazing, and it can positively impact so many people's lives. Right?
Thanks.
So let's talk about that. No, I mean that seriously.
Sure.
It's like you can change at any time. And at any level, right? And I think even talking about like the weight that you're carrying now is necessary. You know, you will never have a 6-pack cold water swimming.
No, I think I'll never have a 6-pack doing anything.
Okay, I know it's genetics, but yeah.
Yes, but yes.
Yeah. But let's go back to that, like,
sure.
you know, smoking heavy.
Yes.
What was the switch? What was the trigger?
So just before I actually started doing a bit of exercise, I did quite a lot of swimming when I was in high school. So swam and played a lot of water polo.
Okay.
Yeah, awesome. I was a good swimmer. I wasn't a great swimmer.
Right.
I wasn't competing sort of provincially on any levels, but I could kind of handle myself in the pool. And the water polo, obviously loved the swimming aspect of it, and I enjoyed the sort of physical demands of it.
Cool. But just before we carry on, if you're okay, I'm going to close the windows because the air cons have just come on.
Yeah.
Back again, guys. We're going to try and stop that. Okay, so you were playing water polo at school.
Yeah,
you grew and sharpened your toenails.
Well, we had to get them cut before every match, but yes, those are some of the tricks of the trade. But then kind of left school and just didn't do any exercise at all.
Okay.
Like nothing. Not really for any reason, just didn't. And then about 15 years ago, started running. What I call running, but like we said, it was my little shuffle.
Yeah.
But literally hadn't done any exercise from after school until about 15 years ago.
What started the running?
So a friend of mine put together this little running group, and he wanted to do a bit of like religious learning, a bit of studying, and kind of piggyback that off creating this running group for a whole bunch of guys who just hadn't done any exercise.
Right.
And
what age was this?
No, it was mixed. All like sort of grown-up guys. It wasn't. Okay. Yeah. There weren't any age restrictions as such for whoever wanted to join. Right. But I think it was aimed primarily at guys who...
I'm just going to move that over here because it's like we are talking at one another. Sorry. Thank you.
It was kind of aimed primarily at guys who just weren't fit, who weren't really doing any exercise. So the original goal that Howie put together was, he called it Couch to 5K. And his goal was for us to run 5 kilometers. And I remember joining the crew, kind of didn't hesitate at all. For whatever reason, I was super excited. No one had to like beg me. No one, come on, you need to start exercising. For whatever reason, I just kind of spoke to me. Yeah. I liked Howie. I wanted to spend time with him actually. So I think that was probably also an important factor. But we started running, and I remember a mate of mine said to me at the time, he joined as well, and he said to me, like, you're going to be the first oak to drop off. Like, I'm going to be the first oak who pulls out. Yeah. And I remember saying to him, Russ, like, let's go, man. Yeah. Let's see.
Bring it.
Yeah, bring it.
Bring it, fat boy.
Bring it. Yeah. And I can't remember how many of us were there in that first group, but probably 12, 15 guys. So it was a fairly big group. But that first run, I remember doing, Nick, I promise you, I could not run 100 meters. Like, I was smoking at the time, pretty heavily, probably a box a day, somewhere around there. It was like a full-blown smoker. And yeah, ran 100 meters and stopped, and had to walk and stop and walk and run. And over the next sort of, I think it was about 2 months, 6 weeks to 2 months, we all built up to that 5 kilometer goal, actually. Majority of the oaks all dropped off. I was kind of one of the last guys standing. Wanted to kind of prove that I could stick this through, and that 5K goal became a huge goal for me. Right. And we landed up running, and we landed up getting to that 5K goal, and sure. I remember feeling like Bruce Fordyce. I certainly didn't look like Bruce Fordyce, but I remember feeling like I feel like I can conquer anything. And sure. I think the reality is, for anyone who does endurance sport, like they'll know 5 kilometers is nothing major, but for anyone who's not doing anything, 5 kilometers is major. And I think kind of made me realize that you don't have to have these massive goals before you actually just want to try and, achieve something. So
get started, basically.
Yeah, just get started. But again, it's all relative, So we hit that 5K, and then Howie decided he wanted to carry on running with a group of us, and he wanted to take it to the 10K mark.
So how many of the guys are left at this time?
I think it was like 1 or 2 of us. It was like Howie, myself, and I think 1 or 2 other guys. But all those original oaks had dropped off. My mate who told me I was never going to stick this out had I think after 2 or 3 weeks he was gone. So, and I remember feeling like unbelievably proud almost, I haven't really thought about this actually until you and I are chatting, but I'm not sure I can say that level of like pride that I felt was any different to, my swim that I've just done. And, the two are very far apart from an event or whatever. But I think just that accomplishment at that time in my life where I hadn't done anything was huge for me.
So it's such a valid point, that because I think so many people look at a channel swim, right? Or climbing Everest or climbing Kilimanjaro, that's a big South African thing. On your set, on your marks, get set, go, climb Kili. Hi, Kiki. So, where it's so true, because, you say like your 5K, that first challenge, it was as much mental work, as much physical work, and maybe even more, because you hadn't been experiencing that in a long time. You hadn't developed the habit of having to use your mental strength and your physical strength.
Yeah.
To the truth. And I think what so many people look at these incredible challenges and go, I can never do that, so they never start.
100%.
But the 5K, is doable for pretty much anyone.
Yes.
And that's the starting point. I was chuckling to myself because you went from couch to 5K, and I'm thinking to Bass Lake.
Eventually. Eventually.
All right, cool. So you're now looking at the 10K. I mean, if you want to talk about that a bit more, I mean, it's just.
No, I think you're 100% right. Like I said in school, I was a good swimmer. I wasn't a great swimmer. I don't see myself as a great athlete, but. I think I've realized over the years that I've been doing a lot of endurance events that, and it sounds cliched, but our minds really are capable of letting us achieve much, much more than we realize. And I think that's
then we believe.
Then we believe, 100%. Our brains are wired to not actually let us try these things because they want us to not put ourselves in these crazy, dangerous situations. But the truth is that that 5K showed me that. It made me realize, listen, if I went from nothing to 5, then what's stopping me from going to 10 and so on and so on.
So we talk about the 10K idea.
So we hit the 10K. Well, okay. So
when he suggested 10K, how did that, what was the conversation around that? Are you nuts? Or, okay, let's give it a go.
I realized that if I could get from literally 100 meters to 5 kilometers, there's absolutely no reason I can't get to 10 kilometers.
Okay.
So it wasn't a debate in my in my brain, like, should I do this, shouldn't I? It was I was super excited for the next challenge, actually.
Right.
I wanted to kind of start to push the boundaries, even though those boundaries at that time were small in my world, but it's I enjoyed the appeal of kind of where can this thing go? Actually.
Okay, 100%. That's sorry to interrupt. It's like, some people might call that discovering a purpose.
Yeah, absolutely. I definitely it definitely unleashed something that I didn't know was there. It was clearly sort of lying dormant, but 100%. So we start this 10 kilometer next phase of this little journey.
Yes.
And a couple of other guys in the community heard about it and joined us, actually.
Okay.
Jeff and Phil Froome, they joined. And we started running and got to the 10K. And I remember that 10K, that run where we completed that first 10 kilometers, it was the same feeling as the 5 kilometer, but it's just now starting to get bigger, starting to realize these goals and these dreams can get bigger and bigger, and there's literally nothing stopping me from believing they can get exponentially bigger.
Yeah.
Actually. So we hit that 10K, and I say to another mate of mine, a by this stage, I'm now exposed to a whole lot of other runners and guys who are running comrades, and now my mind's starting to tick, and I'm thinking, like, I managed to get that 5K, and now I'm at that 10K, like, I want to do comrades. Which probably at the time was a pretty stupid idea, because 10K jump to comrades is a pretty big one.
Yep.
But, you know, again, like, same sort of thinking, like, why not?
Yeah.
You know? What's stopping me from doing it? So a mate of mine said to me, Craig, like, you're never going to do it. You can't do it. And I said to him, like, why not? Maybe I can't, but what happens if I actually can?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like,
how do you react to people telling you can't or you won't make it? Or?
I quite enjoy it, actually.
Okay. Yeah.
More, and not from an ego point of view, but from a point of view, I think, of, like, you know, these are mates of mine, obviously, but like, you don't really know me, and I don't think I really knew me either. And I think that's probably why I went for it, because I was like, I don't know if I can, but I don't know if I can't do it. So we had a little bet, like most males do when there's a bit of a disagreement over a sporting challenge.
100%.
And
can you talk about that? I mean,
the bet.
Yeah, do wives not know?
No, the bet was a ticket to go overseas, actually.
Okay.
A plane ticket to go overseas. So
return.
Yeah, return. Yeah, return. It was like, stay there. Yeah, it was a return ticket.
Okay.
So I trained for comrades over the next, I think, 8 months.
Okay.
So a pretty short period of time.
From 10Ks to comrades in 8 months.
Yeah. It was pretty short. But obviously, I made that first comrades.
Yes. How was it?
It was tough. It was brutal.
But what was it like being at that starting line, having your number, you know, standing there with all of these guys? Because comrades is, you know, it's like a mobile social for some of the guys, right? You know, you're running, you're hacking, you're running, you're hacking.
Yeah.
You know, you're seeing Shlomo, you're running, you're hacking, like that kind of stuff. You know, what was it like standing there going, "Holy cow, this is about to start"?
By the time I got to that start line, I was so excited that I'd actually come from literally, again,
the couch,
that 100 meters, the couch, a cigarette bar, to being able to even just, like, feel confident that I could start comrades.
And so that was within a year.
Yeah, it was within just over a year.
Okay.
So the sort of couch to 5K was over about 2 months, I think, and then we built up to the 10K, and then over to comrades. So it was probably about 14 months, 15 months, somewhere around there.
I mean, and that's important to say that, you know, commitment, dedication.
Yeah, I think naturally, I was going to sound ironic, but I think naturally I probably got some lazy tendencies. You know, I could be happy to sit on a couch and watch Netflix all day. Yeah. But I think that's, you know, I enjoyed the commitment and the dedication that was required if I wanted to actually get across the line. I mean, all the odds were stacked against me. I don't look like a runner. I carry a lot of weight for a runner. I'm a heavy oak. Yeah. You know, you have to qualify with a marathon. My marathon time to qualify for comrades was super slow. So I was in H batch, which is the very last batch that starts.
H for heavy.
H for heavy. Yes. H for hell of a slow as well. And all the odds are stacked against that group, actually. Right. You know, even just there's a stat. I don't remember it exactly now, but like, I think if 40% of comrades runners don't finish, like 80% of them are from H.
Sure. Okay.
It's a crazy stat, actually. Right. You sit in these seminars with Bruce Fordyce giving information and all these like big runners, and they basically in a roundabout way saying like, guys, H is you're gonna have to dig really, really deep.
Because, I mean, it's such a valid point, though, because, guys are doing it in, 5 hours 30? What's a good comrade?
Yeah. I mean, the record's somewhere around there, 5:20, 5:30. Yeah.
So, like top level, 6-7 hours. Like, what time is the cutoff gun?
12 hours.
12 hours.
12 hours,
So, it's very different to forget running fast. And like when you're at elite level, everything's, your mindset and you're getting it done, and you built for it, you train for it, it's your life. You're putting in 12 hours, 11 hours.
11:52 to be exact.
Really?
Yeah. 11.
Talk about that, I think is a tougher mental game than being doing it in 6 hours.
Yeah.
Because that level, 6 hours, 7 hours, you're part of a running club. It's your life. It's your social.
Yeah. I mean, those guys are elite athletes at that level. Even the truth is, like the sort of non-competitive professional runners who are running silvers. They're elite athletes. These guys are genetically they're born for this.
100%. Sure.
But I think I mean that first Comrades really made me realize the power of the mind actually, because it was very stacked against me, like I said. All the odds were I shouldn't finish this thing. And
so you said 11:52.
11:52, yeah.
So 8 minutes.
Yeah, I got 8 minutes till cutoff.
Over how many kilometers?
Over 89 point something, somewhere around there.
Up or down run?
That first one was a down run.
Okay, which is worse?
For me, it's better actually. Okay. I think I've always battled with the up run, just because the truth is the down run it's not downhill for 89 km.
No, but it's impact.
It's that impact on your quads that you really feel towards the end.
Sure. So what's going through your mind, like the last, probably 10, 15 Ks? I mean, are you doubting whether you're going to make the cutoff?
Not really. I think you're in serious amounts of pain. I mean, your legs are just like jelly. I really wanted to make sure that I finished that Comrades. I think that it was an important sort of mental breakthrough for me. Right. That I wasn't prepared to give up.
So it was about crossing the line. It wasn't about the 12 hours.
I wasn't in. No, I think it was about crossing the line within the allocated time. For me, I wanted that medal. I wanted that sort of recognition that this didn't come without serious amounts of hard work. Yeah. And I think anybody who's getting to that start line of Comrades, you're not arriving there without putting in a lot of time, a lot of hard work, sacrifices, and I think I enjoyed knowing what was potentially at the end of that race for me as a bit of validation that, I've put in this hard work and this is what can come out of it.
100%.
So it was incredible crossing that finish line. That first Comrades, the Comrades as a race, as an event is just absolutely spectacular. I mean, you land up running with guys who probably run 10 kilometers to work and back every day because they don't have access to transport. Right. It's diverse. Very diverse, very humbling event actually. Okay. Nobody cares what car you drive. Nobody cares where you live, what house you live, what clothes you're wearing. Everyone's there with one pair of running shoes. And
the world's sexiest shorts and vest.
Look, luckily I didn't run in the 80s with the poly shorts. Although I do remember them as a kid, but
we wore those to the beach.
Yeah, exactly. Those
luminous colours, those are the cool ones.
Yeah, I'm sure they're going to come back at some point.
Absolutely. This generation needs to suffer the indignity of their kids.
We must strut our stuff on Muizenberg Beach in some Lumo poly shorts.
Pink, green and turquoise. There we go. Sure. So first Comrades is done. What's going through your head?
First Comrades is done and I decide I want to get my green number. Okay. Immediately, I'm getting my green number.
So what is green number for those?
So green number is 10 completed successful comrades runs.
Sure. Okay.
Sorry, let me actually go back. I wanted to, so there's something called the back-to-back medal, which is if you do your first and your second comrades consecutively, successfully, you get a special medal at the end of your second one, where you've done your first and your second back-to-back.
Right.
So you can't do it like year one and then year three you do your second one. It has to be your first year and your So
they're like dealers. They want to get you hooked.
And they give you a special medal because you want that special medal.
Like, hey, buddy. Okay, that's awesome.
Yeah.
But that's great because it's like, I'm sure there was significant pain physically after the comrades. And it's like, geez, when do we start again?
I remember, so before the comrades, they've got the expo, and at that time, I think Reebok was a sponsor, and I remember going to that expo and buying this jacket that had this comrades logo on.
Sure.
I wanted to wear that thing proudly, but I wasn't prepared to wear it unless I'd finished.
Right. Yeah.
So I had it in the bag, and I looked at it a couple of times before the race. And I think, interestingly, something that I used to help me get across the English Channel was a lot of visualization.
Right.
And as stupid as this sounds, I visualized walking around with that comrade's hoodie on. It was a symbol of a lot of hard work, and a lot of hard work that doesn't come naturally to me. But I remember after that first comrades, I literally couldn't walk for about 3 weeks. My legs were absolutely dead. Yeah. But I think I also walked around with that hoodie for about 3 weeks.
Okay. That kept you going.
Yeah. So.
Sure.
Yeah, it was great.
So second comrades?
So second comrades done probably. I've always been an 11-hour plus comrades runner.
Right.
But we can talk about that a little bit later. But
you want to get maximum value for your entry fee.
Exactly. I was like, nah, I'm not doing this in 8 hours.
Ridiculous.
I also like challah too much. So I think that wasn't going to let me do it in 8 hours.
Fair enough. It's a good trade.
But so I wanted to get my green number. So I wanted to do 10 comrades. And wanted to try and do them in a row. I wanted to try and do 10 in a row. I managed to do 5 in a row, actually. And then kind of life just got busy. And the one year we had a family, a friend's function or family function, I can't remember what it was, and couldn't run. It was on that same weekend. I was happy to stop being friends. My wife said no. We had to. No, but just life got in. I don't want to say got in the way, but life happens.
No, but you had priorities.
Yeah.
You prioritized what was important
absolutely.
to
100%.
your family as well as yourself.
The truth is, I can't do these things without the support of my wife, now my kids.
Yeah.
100%. These events can sometimes land up being quite selfish, actually. They take a lot of time, and it gets tricky. So, I decided I'm not going to run that 6th comrades, and then landed up having a break for a few years, and I started to swim.
So, what was the move to swimming?
I actually started doing some triathlons in between.
Okay.
But
because you figured running wasn't enough. You wanted to run and swim and cycle.
So I bumped into a friend of mine in Umhlanga Beach one July holidays, and Robin Smukler said to me she's thinking about putting this charity swim together, and she wants to swim from Robben Island to Big Bay. And literally, before she said, do I want to do it, I was like, I'm in.
Okay. Was it 11 Ks?
Robben Island to Big Bay is 7.5 kilometers.
Okay.
Yeah. Again, I hadn't swum.
It's 7.5 kilometers line of sight.
So
not taking into account.
So generally, the currents don't kind of push you too far out on Robben Island. They're sort of a bit more consistent.
Okay.
I mean, you can get some tough currents, but it's not like the English Channel where it lands up adding on.
You were like,
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
Okay.
That straight line never really stays straight. And Robin said to me, "Do I want to come and do it?" And again, like there wasn't even a hesitation.
What was the timeline?
I think actually, so it was July school holidays, and she was setting this up to swim in the November.
Okay.
So yeah, she was like kind of toying with it. She had made contact with the late Theo Yach, who lived in Cape Town, who was like
the
Robben Island swimmer. He was this huge swimmer. It's a very well known guy.
It's like him and the Fialco family.
Yes, correct. Yes.
Yeah. And maybe Dennis Pearson as well.
Yeah, there were like a couple of those big guys.
Legend,
absolutely.
Yeah.
And Robin organised for Theo to come down to Joburg to kind of have a discussion with a whole bunch of guys who had shown interest in the swim. And we had decided like he would kind of come on as a bit of an advisor for us and help us and guide us and show us the ropes. And yeah, in that November, I swam my first Robben Island swim.
Sure. Did we chat like what was that like for you? I mean, that's because there's not a lot of sharks on the road, and sharks are a risk. But it's you got, for me, the challenge with open water swimming is the depth below you. It's like I was fine growing up in Cape Town, and then too much time in Joburg. So it hit me. We were in Taba in Egypt.
Okay.
And like just walked out on the pier, went for hired some goggles, went swimming, like beautiful sand, beautiful sea wall. And it was literally a 3K drop, I think, straight down. And you're just looking down into this abyss.
Yeah.
Hey! And you turn around back to shore.
Yeah.
So I mean that's it's an incredible thing.
Your mind plays interesting tricks on you.
You see something out of the corner of your eye.
Yeah. The truth is that I genuinely don't believe that there's a risk of like being attacked by a shark swimming Robben Island. I think if there was, I wouldn't do it.
Yeah. What about a kraken? Your mind starts to okay. Get eaten by calamari.
I just you've got a boat. It's a motorized boat. Like I think over the last sort of 20 years, I might be wrong here or there, but I think one person's been pulled out of the water doing a Robben Island swim for a shark sighting. It's not really a thing.
No, 100%.
So
but I mean, there's a mental element to being out in that.
I think about sharks a hell of a lot. Like you're in the ocean. Cape Town's known for their sharks, and the notion that they don't like cold water also isn't true.
They go where the food is.
Yeah.
And if the food likes warm water, fine. But no, they don't care. They like seals, which like cold water.
100%. So if I see a seal playing around while I'm swimming, I'm very happy because you don't go play in the traffic if there's lots of cars.
100%.
Or play in the road if there's lots of traffic. But it's still it's permanently at the back of your mind.
Okay. Sure.
You don't even, when you're arriving in Cape Town for these swims, you don't mention the S word. You talk about fish and kind of put it aside. But I don't think that's the real risk.
So what are the risks, like cramping?
The challenge with the Robben Islands is the cold.
Okay.
I think it's quite easy. Not easy. I think it's very manageable with training and proper program to get to that distance.
Going to Lesotho and swimming in a lake.
Look, I haven't done any of that yet.
What did Troy do?
I mean,
frozen eyeballs.
The ice swimming is another whole crazy world. I haven't ventured into that yet. I hope my wife's not going to hear me say this
Hi, Danny.
But the cold is the challenge in Robben Island. Those Atlantic waters can get super cold. I've done some Robben Islands at sort of just below 10.
Sure.
It's cold.
Like for me, I know 14 is like my cutoff. That's what I don't really enjoy swimming. Off Clifton. to the boat, not far, or falling off the paddle ski kind of thing.
Yeah.
So, okay.
Yeah, look, the truth is you can acclimatize to those temperatures. But again, it takes work. It takes time, and it takes a bit of, getting used to feeling uncomfortable.
Yeah.
So I think that's the real challenge with Robben Island is those temperatures. I've had a couple of swims where the temps have been sort of upper 15s, lower 16s, which for me it's a beautiful temperature.
Yeah.
But anything colder is not comfortable. It's not fun.
Yeah.
It's
not fun.
It's not fun, but it's rewarding.
Yeah.
It's
so
rewarding.
You talk about what was that like stepping out onto the beach for the first time?
That first Robben Island swim was, I think it elicited those same emotions that first 5K run did, and that first 10K, and that first comrades. I think, just those feelings of I've really had to work hard at getting to this point, and it's fulfilling, and I think it's a big part of why I want my kids to kind of see these events and these things that I'm doing, because I think certainly in like today's times, these kids they're blasted with the social media where, all these young guys are developing these massive YouTube channels, and they're like instant millionaires, and you're 18 and these guys are driving around with Lamborghinis, and it's an interesting world to be growing up in.
It's a wonderful leasing culture.
I'm sure. Yeah,
so
absolutely.
100%.
It's most things in the world don't happen like that.
Yeah, 99.9999%. Yeah.
Majority of the time, success on whatever level, whether it's in business, in relationships, in sports, whatever it is, it just takes a lot of hard work and a lot of time.
And it's not guaranteed.
And it's not guaranteed. Yeah,
absolutely.
And I want my kids to kind of see that.
And how's that working so far?
I don't know.
Okay.
They're trying to start YouTube channels. I'm not sure.
Okay.
No, I'm joking.
No, fair enough.
I think they're more kind of subconscious lessons, as opposed to they're in your face because they see me doing it. But I'm hoping that as they grow up and as they start to enter into the working world and start to develop relationships as they get older, etc., those sort of subconscious, subliminal messages will have been planted in their, in their lives and in their brains for them to realize, like, things are hard. Things take hard work.
Hard graft.
They don't come easy. Some people they do, but that isn't the standard.
100%.
So, and I'm happy for them to see that.
Right.
I hope it filters through.
Listen, I mean, it's an incredible example, and I think it can only filter through.
Yeah.
So very, very cool. But you're not instilling the understanding of hard work and delayed gratification, and working towards something, and achieving a goal is a progression.
Yeah.
And it's linear, but you don't do the next step if you miss the current step.
Yeah.
Those are wonderful lessons to instill. And to share with your kids.
Yeah. I think your comment about delayed gratification, very much so.
Yeah.
So, these guys are on TikTok, and like brains are just being hammered with, all this instant stuff that,
And you could blow up in, that's 100%. We need to learn that, because it's like the 5K is just as rewarding as the comrades, as the 10K, and as the swim.
Yeah, absolutely. So for someone who doesn't do any exercise, comrades isn't the be all and end all. It's that first 100 meters. I mean, I remember in that first 5K program that we did, there's this little hill on Summerway near where I live.
Yes.
I mean, it's not a hill.
It's
but in
Everest.
my world at that time,
I
I remember the first time I ran up this little incline, and it was like massively rewarding, because 3 weeks before I couldn't do it.
Sure.
And like those little things start to build bigger blocks.
Yeah.
Your brain starts to realize, I can do it. And Yeah.
And I should.
Yes. Yeah.
So, so you go from Robben Island.
Let's go from Robben Island.
Did you do the round the island?
I haven't done round the island yet. I haven't done round the island.
Okay.
But
that is quite a unique swim. And it's quite a unique group of people that decide they want to. You see the lunatic look in the eyes, but yeah. So, okay.
Yeah, I've always loved the ocean. I think it feeds my soul. I absolutely love being in the ocean. I think someone said to me the other day that I've got ADD like lots of people in the world today, and my brain's permanently scrambled and thinking and jumping all over the place. Somebody said to me the other day, like, maybe you love the ocean because it's quiet, and I think I realized it's peaceful, it's quiet. I can actually get to unscramble my own thoughts and just have some me time.
Yeah, sure. It's interesting you say that, because for me, I love being underwater. It's the only time things are quiet. Yeah. And that's like I when I was younger, used to train. Like my goal was a length of an Olympic swimming pool underwater.
Oh, cool.
And so did that, and then up 3 breaths, back under, try and work on, that kind of get out the CO2, getting some oxygen, and it's quiet under there.
Yeah, it's quiet. It's quiet and it's peaceful.
Cool. Yeah. Sure.
Yeah.
Okay, so from Robben Island, so I'm just pushing. We got like 12 minutes. That's okay. We're going to have you back on for sure.
Sure. Okay.
So
sure.
The Robben Island.
So
which is, you said 7.8?
7.5 kilometers.
Okay.
Yeah. So that was done in the group that Robben had this charity swim that she had put together.
And you did a couple of those, and I just wanted to touch on, what is that South African open water swimming community like? Because quite a good bunch of people.
It's a great bunch of people. I mean, I've met lots of people along the way. Yeah. Super supportive. Everyone's always incredibly keen to just advise and help and guide along the way. And I remember about 2 months ago, training for my English channel, I did a triple Robben Island, and there's a guy who swims in Cape Town. His name's Howard Warrington. He now holds the record for the most Robben Island swims. He's done, I think, 152. He gets up in the morning and goes to do a Robben Island swim before work. But I remember, crazy.
It's like Lewis Pugh, Saturday afternoon island and back, and then run up Lion's Head and then down Table Mountain down. Yeah, those people.
That kind of exactly.
Okay. Yeah. Sure.
And I've swum a couple of times with him. I don't know him very well, but on my third leg of that Robben Island, of that triple, Howard had been supporting some other swimmers on the day, and next minute I see Howard pull up in his boat, whips out his GoPro and kind of takes a couple of videos, a couple of photos, whatever, waves, and kind of drives off. And that afternoon I was sitting on the aeroplane on my way back to Joburg, and I get a video that he WhatsApped to me, that he put together this whole video that he had done for me for my Robben Island swim. And just we don't know each other that well. We've spent a little bit of time in the ocean together, but just that kind of community, he was excited for me. He was happy when I finished my triple. So just those kinds of moments are special.
It's very, very cool.
Yeah, the open water community is very lekker. It's nice to be part of it.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Right. So from Robben Island, you're triple. So because 2 wasn't enough.
Jumped around a little bit. I mean, the truth is that triple came after sort of 10 years of swimming and doing a lot of open water swimming.
When did the channel become a thing in your head?
So very similar to that sort of.
Was it during the Comrades or?
It was during that. It was pretty soon after my first Robben Island swim.
Right.
Similar to that, I hit my 10K. I want something really big to aim for. Not to say that you need to jump from like, small to massive overnight, but I wanted to have my sights set on something that I knew was going to sort of push me and drive me to kind of just keep pushing those boundaries.
Sure.
So, pretty soon after I did that maybe first or second Robben Island, and again, I'm now exposed to this open water swimming community, and I'm starting to meet guys who have done the English Channel and guys who have done massive swims, and I'm thinking like, it's amazing. I want to do it.
100%. I'm going to pause because what I want to go. So we were talking about the community and being part of that, and then wanting to sort of second Robben Island, now the channel. Because what I'm dying to ask for, which we'll get to, you'll have to tune in next week, is sort of what's next. But it's the Atlantic. I don't know. So.
So
okay. So the channel swims, and then you get the idea. When does the prep start?
So get the idea that I want to swim the English Channel.
Yeah.
And I start to ask questions and start to find out like what's involved, etc., etc. And by this stage, I've built up a bit of a relationship with Derek from Big Bay Events in Cape Town.
Okay.
They besides doing like water safety for a lot of the events in and around the country, Derek facilitates majority of all the Robben Island swims.
Okay.
And he started to take swimmers on a yearly basis over to the UK as a support crew to kind of help them with swimming the English Channel.
So I mean that's an important point with the comrades, or a 5K or a 10K. It's just you and then the race organizers and that. But when you're swimming, you have a boat with you the whole time. You've got a support crew.
Yeah.
You've got a team.
Yeah.
You can just touch on that a little bit.
Look, the truth is that, like you said, Comrades it's a totally different event. Most of the time you can kind of get through that, crewing yourself.
Yeah.
Obviously you've got your friends and your family and they're helping you along the way, and, you've got loads of support along the way and
but
spectators,
you don't
etc.
need professionals.
But no, you don't need professionals.
Yeah.
No, the English Channels, it's a very different beast. I think you need to be able to hand over, in my opinion. I'm only talking about my own experience, but you need to be able to hand over like full trust into somebody who knows what they're doing. There's so many different factors that go into helping you successfully get across this channel that, I think.
And for you, that was Derek?
For me, that was Derek.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because I think the thing with the channel is it's not a straight line.
No.
And you're not in charge of when you get out of the water.
No.
If you have to.
Yeah.
So I think there are a lot of people that are in for 14 hours.
14, 16
hours,
20.
And are getting pulled out saying it's done.
Yeah, very much so. It's
is
interesting. One of the conversations I had with my 17-year-old daughter, kind of leading up to me going to the UK, she said to me like, "Dad, promise me that if you're not feeling good, you'll get out." And she was obviously anxious about swimming in the ocean. I mean, I lost a brother to a drowning 10 years ago. So, for lots of different reasons, it brings up lots of interesting emotions for a lot of people. But I said to her, I promise you that I'm not going to get out if I'm not feeling well, because it's not in my nature to give up.
Yeah.
But I said to her, I promise you that there's somebody on the boat who I trust and who's there to make that decision for me, actually. So it's just to have a crew on the boat that I 100% trusted to make the decisions that I know I wouldn't be able to, I think was a huge mental tick for me to get across successfully, actually.
Sure. So, I mean, let's chat about, so we're going back, so your conversation with Derek.
So my conversation with Derek, I say, Derek, I want to swim the English Channel. And by now he's kind of seen that I've done some single Robben Islands. I had done a double Robben Island by that stage, and we kind of started the process of me wanting to start booking for this thing.
Right.
That process took 6 years to actually get done, and the 6th year being last week Wednesday.
Okay.
But it's just, again, work, family, commitments, time.
But also, I mean, there's not an infinite number of slots available. There's a season. There's a
So it's quite a complicated thing to actually do on your own. And Derek's, again, like that's where Derek also comes in with his experience. Is he's now built up relationships with the skippers in the UK, and he pre-books slots 2 years in advance.
Sure.
You know, the reality is that anybody from around the world who wants to swim the channel is kind of vying for ideally sort of middle of August to the end of August. The season opens the end of July, kind of runs to the beginning of September. And I think with the weather being sort of prime in August.
Right.
So Derek pre-books slots 2 years in advance, and you know, for us as the South Africans, we'll then engage with him. I mean, you can do this on your own. I personally wouldn't. I don't think that it's worth the risk to not go through someone like Derek, actually.
Yeah.
But and then based on when you commit to Derek, you'll get a slot, and he facilitates that whole process. He deals with the skipper, and just from an advisory point of view. So I mean, I had a great slot. You know, you want to try and limit whatever you can that's going to kind of make this thing not happen. And
right.
the slots is a big thing. Loads of people end up going to the UK, having trained for a year, and just they don't swim.
Yeah,
the weather just doesn't turn in their favour. So
sure, and that's quite tough. You know, and
and
it's not just getting in the water and going. You can't.
Yeah.
You know, there's a whole control body.
Yeah,
for the swim.
Correct.
That, you know,
correct.
You've got to prove what you're capable of.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, just on the day itself, these pilots are all registered with the Channel Swimming Association, and they effectively the ones that say whether they're prepared to go out or not.
Sure.
So, you know, it's interesting on the good days when the weather's favourable, there'll be 12 boats out, which is the maximum amount of boats that are registered.
Okay.
With the Channel Association. But you can see, like on some days, there's 4 or 5 boats, and you know, you also got to bear in mind that, you know, for those guys, it's a business.
Yeah.
For some of the pilots, they want the swimmers to be successful.
Yeah.
So Derek's associated himself with a lot of the skippers who, you know, he knows give a bit of leeway with the weather, a bit more flexible. And
trust
all of
themselves,
those,
trust Derek, trust
100%.
So if they can, they trust him to trust the swimmer.
Correct.
They can then make a call on the weather.
I mean, the truth is, the South Africans are starting to get a bit of a reputation for, you know, being successful.
Right.
We've got a pretty high success rate.
Yeah.
Sure. And I think, you know, it's hugely, you know, attributed to Derek knowing, like, he makes us swim in the dark, because he knows that we're going to start in the dark.
Right. Sure.
You know, like, you got to be happy to swim in the pitch dark. When we go to swim camps in Langebaan, he makes us swim in the dark. Because, you know, if you can't do that, you're going to land up starting your swim, and it's just
panicking and burning up all your energy.
You know, 100%.
Sure.
So there's lots of little factors that all contribute to, you know, the possibility of getting across successfully.
Okay. So you land, you're there, you're walking out onto the sand. I mean, like, do you swim off the beach? Do you swim off the...
you swim off the beach. So you got to take an hour boat ride, like sort of 2 a.m. from the harbour in Dover to, I think we started at Shakespeare Beach. I'm not actually sure the name of the beach where I started.
Yeah, the finishing beach.
But you start at the beach, so you kind of jump out the water off this little fishing trawler. Yeah. Swim, I don't know, probably 200 meters to the start. You got to make sure that you're clear of the water, and they say
Sure.
go, and that's it.
You literally step back 100% on the sand.
Step back 100%. You guys, I'm ready. Blow a horn, and that's it.
Okay,
Yeah.
sure. So what's going through your mind then, or you're already in the game from the time you're on the boat?
You know, Nick, I'm going to go back to that little weekend before my first comrades, where I had visualized wearing that zip-up hoodie with that comrades logo, and you know, as silly as it sounds, I think for me a huge part of the reason my channel swim was successful is I've been visualizing it for a long time. I've been wanting to do the swim for many years, but certainly from sort of the end of last year, where I had now booked it, I knew my head was in the right space for the swim. I had started visualizing almost every aspect of how the swim was going to go.
So talk us through that. What is the visualization for you?
Just visualizing me successfully hitting France.
Okay.
I visualized.
Do you break it down like this is getting in the water that's going halfway there?
Yeah. Like I sort of broke down the whole process. I mean, I'd visualized kind of getting to Dover. Visualized. In fact, even before getting to Dover, just visualized training. Sort of started to really believe that like I could do this in my mind, and kind of created all these images and these pictures and the story. And I think it was a big reason that it went my way.
Sure.
By the time I had arrived on the beach in Dover, I was mentally like I was 100%. I was ready for it.
Okay.
I knew what I was in for. I knew that I was going to be in for a brutal day. I wasn't looking for an easy day. You know what I mean? I didn't arrive there thinking I was going to have an easy day.
That's such an important thing, that you prepared and expecting the worst.
Yeah.
As opposed to hoping and then getting broken.
Correct.
Sure.
Correct. I'd visualized how I would feel in the water. I visualized the whole thing, and there's this tradition for solo channel swimmers to go and write their names on this pub wall in Dover.
Yes.
And for many years, that pub wall was my comrade's hoodie.
Okay.
I'd been thinking about.
You posted a picture of that.
Yeah.
With a big smile.
Yeah. I was super excited to do that. And it's this very raw, unglamorous process. I've never been to Dover, and you can imagine what a pub in Dover is like.
Yes. And also being a South African so close to the Rugby World Cup in the UK, you had to change your accent.
Yeah, absolutely. And in fact, the 2 days after I swam, we played New Zealand. Yeah. And we all know how that went.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's just say it went in our favor.
Yes, absolutely.
So now you're getting to the end there. So it's sort of like on the beach. Like what was that like landing? I mean, how soon are you putting your feet down on the sand? So
it's for anybody who's done in sort of marathon open water swimming. You can see land kilometers away. I mean, certainly, when I was in the middle of that channel, I'm guessing, but you probably can see France like sort of 20 kilometers away.
Right.
I tried very hard not to keep looking up because I just know from my Robben Island swims that, that beach, you can see it from kilometers away, but it takes a long time before it's close enough for you to feel like you've done this. So, you kind of, we told to swim until you run out of water. One of the
That's brilliant. I love that.
Yeah. And again, I reminded myself that over and over again, like I'm just going to swim until there's nowhere else to go.
Yeah.
One of the approaches of Derek and the way that he likes to crew is he doesn't tell us at all how long we've swum for, how far we've swum, how far we've got left to swim.
Did they take your Apple Watch?
They took my, he won't let you swim with the watch.
Okay.
I actually thought it was a rule of the Channel Association,
Right.
but it's Derek's rule.
It's a rule of Derek.
And I I wasn't sure if it was, I like to do things my way sometimes as well. And again, I think that was the importance of realizing I need to hand over total trust to him.
Yes.
He knows what works, he knows what doesn't. And I think by the time I sort of got towards the end of the swim and, after I've unpacked it, I realized that that's probably one of the most important aspects of his support, because you've no idea how far you've gone for. Like I was trying to work out the time of the day by the position of the sun.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking it's 12 o'clock because the sun's directly above me, and if I started at 3, then I'm 9, 3, 4, 5, and I'm trying to count in my fingers while I'm swimming. And if I had thought I was swimming for 10 hours and I look at my watch and it's 2 hours, I would have been broken, absolutely broken.
Yeah.
So just that handing over trust and control that, Derek knows what he's doing. It's a huge factor. So, by the time I saw French waters, French coastline sort of in reach, I realized that, I had made it, but that was after 4 hours of swimming uphill into these currents.
So I think the sense that I get from speaking to you, it's not really so much about with the swim. It's not so much about the start point, the end point. It's not about getting in the water. It's not about getting onto the beach. It's about it being present in every single moment, every single stroke of that swim, where every moment is what is valuable in that moment. Not about thinking about the end or the start or it's just getting through what you're getting through.
Yeah, I think we can see, like, as we're getting older, time just seems to be going a hell of a lot faster. And my mates that I'd now connected with before my channel swim, who had done their own channel swims, Troy, Kiki, Cape Town friends, Jason Lemmer. The one thing that everybody said to me is, like, just savor the moment, savor every part of the moment, because it disappears like this.
Right.
And
it's like a week ago.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, sitting here now, it's in the blink of an eye, it's gone. So I enjoyed being in the moment. I tried not to wish that it was over. As hard as it was, because it was tough. It was really tough. But I could see that sun just moved from a magnificent sunrise, and before you know it, that sun's now setting, and another whole day of your life is just gone.
Right.
And it's quite a scary thought, where time's just ticking by,
flying.
So I made sure to just enjoy it. Yeah.
How long were you in the water for? How long was the swim?
13 hours and 16 minutes.
Okay, sure.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, it's not, you're not going straight. I think the record is around about 5 hours or something.
6:55.
6:55.
Yeah,
Okay,
6:55 is the world record.
Yeah. And because that was pretty straight.
So the truth is that...
How did they time that?
a swimmer like that is just so much faster than, the average swimmer who's crossing the channel. So they're just getting through those currents much quicker. So they're not getting pushed around like we are, just because they're so much faster.
You're going down, you're going up.
Yeah, I mean, if you if you look at that track, you can literally see how the currents are changing every 6 hours.
Yeah.
And the slower you are, the more those currents make your day much more difficult and much longer.
Sure.
So, for like that world record track, that line is almost dead straight. You need to have, for those kinds of records, you need to pick your day very carefully. Guys who are going to break that record are being careful of when they go for it.
Right. Sure.
I mean, interestingly, I met, there was a German Olympic swimmer who I met in the hotel the same time as me, and his window was over the same period of mine. He was there to break the world record.
Okay.
Landed up chatting with him actually quite a lot. It was really cool. But he had his coach there from Germany. He had his film crew. He had his nutritionist. He didn't land up swimming. So he was there for a week waiting. And they had to call it, and they're going to try and do it again in September.
Okay.
But just the weather wasn't in his favor.
Sure.
So
Crazy.
Interesting,
Crazy.
Yeah, crazy.
So, what's next? Got the look on that face. What's next?
I'm gonna take sort of the rest of the year off to. I'm not take it off.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna kind of enjoy my swimming a bit.
And grab Troy, go do an umschlange, a couple of laps up and down. Back of the breakers.
Irritate him when he's trying to train like he did when I was.
100%. That's important.
The truth is that if I get into the pool now and I don't feel like swimming, I'll just get out and go have a cup of coffee.
Yeah. Which is, I mean, you've earned that.
Yeah, that pressure's off for a little bit.
Yeah.
I don't want to get used to it because I think I need these huge goals to kind of keep me ticking and just they definitely drive me to just try and keep my mind a bit sharp.
It's a Kilimanjaro, Everest, North Pole, South Pole.
I think I'm going to stick to the water. Okay. I enjoy being in the water.
You're not going to do that crazy Dead Sea swim that kick
No.
Rip yourself apart with ice.
No.
Salt.
No. I'm not sure they'd ever do that again.
Yeah.
But I mean, that was incredible.
Yeah.
That was an amazing.
Sure.
Yeah.
So like a Lewis Pugh 1K or Everest Lake swim.
Yeah.
I mean, he's swimming the Hudson at the moment.
Yes, correct.
I mean, that's just incredible.
He's swimming,
the Hudson
up
River.
and down.
Yeah,
all over
through
the place.
locks, through.
Yeah,
I mean,
he's an incredible. Besides athlete, I mean, what he's what he's trying to do with his foundation.
Save the oceans.
Yeah, it's amazing. I've got a few things planned. I want to swim False Bay next year.
Sure.
Definitely.
Because the sharks are not.
So there. That's a slight. The truth is actually that the orcas have chased the great whites away. Yeah.
It's crazy.
It's crazy.
That whole trade is gone, and sharks are.
I mean, there's some unbelievable drone footage that the guys have captured of these orcas attacking great whites.
Yeah.
And eating out their.
Just want their livers.
Yeah. It's amazing, but it's going to be hard not to think about great whites in False Bay. The channel, it wasn't a thing. It's just not a thing.
Well, they're just a cargo ship.
Yeah.
Did you see some of the bigger ships?
Yeah, I saw some big cargo ships and some cruise ships and the ferries.
Okay. Sure.
But the water was clean, eh? The water was beautiful.
Okay.
I didn't see one piece of litter. It was clean. Yeah, it was great.
That's awesome. So back to False Bay now. Yep. What is the False Bay swim?
So it's a 34-kilometer swim from literally across False Bay.
So like Cape Point down, like Diaz Beach.
From Roy Else to somewhere else. I can't remember what the other side is.
Omanus. Umschlange.
Somewhere around that side,
Okay.
But again, like different challenges. It's the distance is almost straight because you're not faced with the kinds of currents like you are on the English Channel, but it's colder. There's the big fish that it's on the back of your mind. But there's. I think my ultimate goal that I want to work towards is the 7 oceans.
Okay.
Which is it's a series of swims around the globe. 7 of them, the English Channel being one of them, and that's going to take me 20 years.
Okay,
I'm not going to get one of these done.
Oh, we're planning on having these podcasts going for a while, so we're getting future material. Thank you.
But I'm definitely going to carry on swimming. I love the swimming. I think my body responds well to it. I feel good in the water, so. Yeah,
it's awesome. Any sort of words of advice, thoughts you'd like to share, like to leave before we end?
I think trying to, for somebody who wants to start doing any sort of activity, I think exercise. It's it can be hard. It can be very intimidating, especially for someone who isn't fit. I think just go out and start. I think if I hadn't started that
start with 100
that
meters.
5K run that started with 100 meters, I wouldn't have landed up where I am, because it wouldn't have shown me that I actually can do this. And I think we're also living in a society where everyone's comparing themselves to everybody else, and we all get caught up in that, me included. And it can be difficult to kind of step away from being sucked into those sort of thought processes,
100%.
where you just go out and do it. It's hard. It's hard, but it's much more rewarding than it is hard, actually. And I think that's really...
And it's not as hard as not doing it. It's not as hard as not starting and having to look at yourself every day.
Yeah.
When you know you should have started.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's it.
Sure. I want to look after my health. I want to
stay young.
I want to stay. I want to stay fit and strong for my kids, for my wife, or for myself.
And it's just a great excuse to wax everything.
Yes, exactly.
And on that note, we'll wrap it up. But Craig, I just wanted to say thanks, dude. I mean, it was a great conversation.
Yeah, it's
a lot of
fun. I always enjoy spending time with you.
Thank you. Likewise, man. And I think we could have spoken for 3 hours. So we're definitely going to have you back.
Cool. Yeah.
I'm unfortunately the one with the time constraints today. So,
cool.
Dude, thank you for coming
man.
through.
Yeah, it was awesome, man. Thanks, Nick.
Okay, awesome.
Lekker, man.
Let's end that there. Hey guys, today's episode is brought to you proudly by Emmet Beats. Music by athletes for athletes. It's music that you can use in your live streams, on your social media posts, without fear of any copyright infringement. And now we're proud to announce the launch of the walkout edition of our 4th album, Big Dog. This is music that you can have played at any event streamed by Emmet Media. Any competition that you come to that Emmet Media is streaming, you can ask to have the song on this album played as your walkout music. It's a series of 90-second tracks that you can train to and practice to and set your mind to, knowing that when the beat drops exactly, that's when you're going to bring what you need to bring to the platform.